So the US is striking Iran, but what if the headlines, what everyone's talking about, are getting this story completely wrong? We're about to dive into a pretty provocative theory from military veteran Jack Carr, and he says this isn't about Iran's nuclear ambitions at all. Nope, he argues it's about something way, way bigger.
It really makes you wonder, right? I mean, why now? After decades of tension, why pull the trigger now? And here's the really important question. What if this military action is aimed at a much, much bigger target on the world stage?
Now, according to Carr's analysis, these military operations are not some rash out-of-the-blue decision. Not at all. They are what happens when years and years of diplomacy and all those covert actions just completely fail. This, he says, is the last resort.
And what's really interesting here is Carr's reaction to all this. He doesn't describe it as some moment of victory, but as one of sadness. Sadness that decades of policy have led us to this exact point, which he sees as the inevitable outcome of repeated failures.
This really brings us to the crucial history behind it all. I mean, how did we get here? Why, after nearly half a century, did diplomacy and pressure campaigns just consistently fail to change Iran's behavior?
While Carr boils down the approach of multiple U.S. administrations to one powerful concept, the literal definition of insanity. You know the one, doing the same thing over and over again and somehow expecting a different result. And wow, this slide really illustrates that point perfectly. Just look. From Carter to Biden, every single administration, doesn't matter which party, had the same core policy. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and has to stop its aggression in the region. But whether it was drawing red lines, using carrots and sticks, or trying to negotiate, nothing worked. To truly understand what's happening today, Carr argues we have to look back, way back to a single pivotal event in 1983 that he says shaped everything that followed. 241. That's the number of American servicemen killed in the 1983 bombing of the Marine barracks in Beirut. It was an attack directly linked to Iran and its proxies. According to Carr, this catastrophic event didn't just end lives, it set a dangerous precedent that we are still dealing with today.
And the crucial point is what Iran learned from this. According to Carr's analysis, the lesson for them was simple, and it was brutal. Number one, terrorism works. And number two, using proxies to do your dirty work, well, that works even better. And here's the real kicker. The U.S. response under the Reagan administration was a lot of tough talk, but then ultimately a withdrawal from the region. That sent a clear message to Iran, the region, and the world. This strategy of theirs works, and it emboldened them for the next 4 decades.
So that lesson from 1983, that's the foundation for the core of Carr's entire theory. Because this strike, he argues, isn't just about the Middle East, it's about a new global axis of power that's been building for decades.
He calls it the Krink axis. That's China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. Now, this isn't a formal alliance like NATO. Think of it more as a strategic alignment of nations that are all working together to challenge the current world order.
This slide really clarifies the two ways to look at this. The common view, what you mostly hear, is that this is a regional conflict with Iran over its nuclear program and its terror proxies. But Carr's bigger picture view is that this is a strategic strike designed to take the Iran out of that CRNK axis, with the goal of directly weakening China and Russia.
So you're probably wondering, how exactly is Iran the linchpin? Well, it provides China with sanctioned oil. In return, China props up the Iranian regime with a massive $400 billion investment, which includes technology to control its own people. And of course, Iran supplies Russia with critical military drones for its war efforts. You see, Iran is a key enabler for both of them.
So, if the goal is really to break this axis, what are the potential consequences? What does the day after actually look like?
Carr poses a really critical question here about the endgame. Is this a calculated move with a replacement leader just ready to step in, someone who could purge the old guard and maybe align Iran with the West? Or is this whole thing just based on the hope that someone better will emerge from the chaos? And this gets to the absolute core of Carr's concern. After all the painful lessons we learned from Iraq and Afghanistan, is there a concrete plan for Iran? Or are we, once again, just banking on hope as a strategy?
Now, a global strategy like this has direct implications right back here. And that's where the analysis pivots, to the domestic threats that could be activated in response to a strike on Iran.
Carr outlines 3 main domestic threats we need to be watching for. First, sleeper cells that could be activated. Second, lone wolf attackers who have been radicalized online and are just looking for a reason to act. And third, a grim possibility he warns against, a so-called dirty nuke, which is a conventional explosive mixed with radioactive material.
And so we're left with this final, powerful question. Is this strike the beginning of a decisive and necessary reset of the global power structure? Or have we just opened the door to a dangerous new era of unpredictable chaos? The stakes really could not be higher.